10 best small towns to live in England. Living in England means different things to different people. For some people, it's either London or nowhere else whenever it comes down to the best places to live in England. Others would consider some other big cities if London is taken out. But did you know there are some who actually desire to live in small towns in England? Please don't jump to any conclusion as to why they choose to live in a small town. It might not be due to just economic reasons. As you'd see on our list of 10 best small towns to live in England, certain towns have charms and allure that can cause a lover of beauty and nature to consider making them home. 10. Windsor, Berkshire. The next of the best small towns to live in England is Windsor in Berkshire. This town for centuries remains a popular destination for tourists living in England or the entire United Kingdom and for tourists from all parts of Europe. Those who chose to live in this town may have been attracted by the added fame it once received as the royal wedding venue for Prince Harry and Meghan Markle. You could find accommodation in Windsor Castle, the world's largest occupied castle. Since it's a weekend and holiday home for the King, those living in Windsor consider it a privilege to walk the streets with His Majesty without visiting Buckingham Palace. 9. Frome, Somerset. Now let's shift our attention to Frome as one of the 12 best small towns to live in England. We don't need a lot of explanation that transcends being voted as one of the best places to live in the UK. Though small, this town has quality schools considered one of the best to cater to the needs of families intending to live in a small town in England. Many people living in modern homes in big cities crave living in a small town in a historic and architecturally fascinating building. There are plenty of these in the centre of the town of Frome, lined with many independent shops. 8. Henley-on-Thames, Oxfordshire. This town is home to the famous Henley Royal Regatta. This boat race coming up in early July always gives the residents of this beautiful spot, which was established as a market town in the 12th century, the opportunity to interface with thousands of visitors. Henley-on-Thames is chocolatey. Having a respite at Chocolate Cafe, a local hotspot known for chocolate treats, either hot or cold, is one reason to consider this town one of the best places to live in England. It's a place people enjoy good cardiovascular health because walking the Thames Path National Trail is a regular part of life in this town. 7. Bakewell, Derbyshire. We next turn to Bakewell, a small market town in the Dales of Derbyshire County. Bakewell too is among the best small towns to live in England. We agree with the popular opinion that ranks Bakewell well on the basis of its 3 highly rated principal primary schools, secondary schools and preparatory schools and college. Another one of the attractions making Bakewell one of the most popular small towns in England is its Peak District National Park and Derbyshire Dales. Living in this small town affords you a chance of finding a home in these prestigious locations with their charming stone cottages, attractive rugged moorland and green valleys. 6. Sevenoaks, Kent. The next town on our list of 12 best small towns to live in England is wrapped in a rich history with a legacy of several stately homes. Would you love to live in or around a home built more than 500 years ago? The Knoll House, which was built in the 1450s, will give a reason to live in Sevenoaks. Perhaps this may explain why this small town is one of the favourite commuter towns in the south of London. Try to live in this town and discover why Sir Winston Churchill decided to make it a home. 5. Warwick, Warwickshire. Those living in Warwickshire are surely living in the history class, as a pretty small town near the River Avon is replete with the ancient British history. Meanwhile, there's a public library which is a favourite of everyone in this town. Your enjoyment of the small town begins with Charlecot Park, the stately Victorian home. You probably remember the Lucy family. The library is a favourite. Attractive sights that you will always find in your neighbourhood include a Princess Tower, Castle Dungeon, entertainment ground and the ever-popular Falconer's Quest. We can also talk about the famous Warwick Castle within its impeccable charm. This epitome of all English castles is a potential home for you. 4. Epping, Essex. The town of Epping in Essex, surrounded by countryside, has many reasons to be listed among the best small towns to live in England. Apart from its closeness to London, with its own stop on the London Underground rail network, it's also a town attractive to both commuters and retirees eager to live in a village community within reasonable distance to the nation's capital. We are not at all surprised that the Sunday Times voted this town one of the best places to live in the UK thanks to its proximity of its forest's 6,000 acres of ancient woodland and the independent shops and cafes in the town's bustling high street. 3. St Ives, Cornwall. We love a town with beaches, and St Ives in Cornwall is definitely one of such towns. Thus, we're adding it to our list of the 12 best small towns to live in England. Cornwall is a town of glorious beaches. It's a haven for internationally renowned artists, sculptors, painters and potters of British descent. You can easily understand why the Tourist Board described it as an art capital of the world. No wonder it's among the most expensive coastal resorts in the British Isles. This town is ideal for those who don't want to live close to the bright lights and bustle of the capital and still enjoy the modest amenities a small town has to offer. 2. Painswick, Gloucestershire. If you want to be a part of a fairy tale, Painswick is one of the 12 best small towns in England you can consider. The town has been home to what has been known as the Queen of the Cotswolds. Living in one of the quintessentially English homes lining its winding streets gives the residents a kind of dignified, modest feeling. The houses, like Castle Combe, are made of Cotswold stone. There are still reminiscences of the town's past as a wool town, such as donkey doors, everywhere including Bisley Street. If you love to live close to a garden that offers spectacular views of the countryside, you will find a home in Painswick, the home of lovely gardens called Rococo Gardens. 1. Rye, East Sussex. Now we get down to the very first best small town to live in England on our list. You can't ever get sick of walking through cobblestone streets like those in Rye, which are lined with charmingly crooked houses. That is what tourists feel about this town. Imagine that you're living in this small town that they find incredibly peaceful and picturesque. The fortified hilltop town of Rye is full of amazing countryside and river views to add colour and flavour to your daily life. We're not the only one that considers this quaint village one of the best small towns in England. Tourists and several ranking bodies also say so. On Mermaid Street alone, you'll have reasons like the House with Two Front Doors, Simon the Pieman, and the Mermaid Inn, which is the street's most famous historic building and one of the oldest in England. It's quite possible that some of our viewers feel differently about the ranking of these towns. We fully appreciate that and respect their position. Therefore, we would love to have your take on this list of the 12 best small towns to live in England. Do you agree? Please let us have your comments on these in the comments section. We can assure you that your opinion will be objectively considered. Thank you for watching this video. Please don't forget to subscribe, comment and turn on the notification bell. This is Learning Canteen.